This is a tutorial on how to assemble HobbyCity / HobbyKing bullet connectors. The batteries from HobbyCity / HobbyKing look like this. These are the 4mm sized ones. They do have 3.5mm and I think 5 or 5.5 on the higher discharge rate batteries. But this version is the 4mm version. Anyway, so basically you want your connectors assembled exactly the way the factory battery connectors are. If you're doing it on the speed control, it's going to be the opposite of the battery. But for a battery, you want it to look exactly like the HobbyCity batteries. So the first thing you want to do is slide the plastic onto the wires from your battery. So looking at this battery, you have the red positive up here and the negative black wire for here. So if you notice on the connector itself, there's a large hole and a small one. The large one goes to the shell and the small one goes to the bullet. The banana connector. So make sure your polarity is correct and matches the size on the connector. So you have, when you slide it on, it'll look like this. Again, make sure the polarity is correct and the type of bullet and the size on the connector. So once you slide it on, also remember to keep your leads, at least one of them, covered so they don't short out, because if you're using LiPo batteries, you know, that's not good. It might cause a fire or explode or something. So you want to either tape it or shrink wrap one side and do one at a time. So basically, let's say I wanted to do this side, the positive side. So what I have is the shell, which is this one on here. So basically you're gonna have it something like this. Also, this thing I got from HobbyCity for I think $2.50, and very useful. So basically what you do is first thing you need to do is make sure you strip the insulation from the wire. I usually strip just a tiny little piece, maybe about 5mm, about that much, because you don't really need more than that. And when you're soldering, you can put the solder in the side through this little hole like this, and then heat it up like this, or you can put it in here and heat it up like this. I usually do it this way, reason being it's cleaner. If you do it on the side, sometimes the solder comes out the side, and that's not what you want, and I'll tell you why you don't want that. So I usually do it like this. I just heat it up with enough solder. You don't want it to overflow out the side. You want it maybe half of this cup of solder, or maybe a little bit over half of the inside of this cup with solder, and of course you heat it up and make sure that it's boiling. And then once it's boiling, you can position these two and put it in like this, and it'll hold and it'll cool down without any movement. Make sure you also pre-tin your leads. The reason why pre-tinning is important, one of the reasons is it keeps all the individual filaments of the wire together as one piece. So let's say you have it pre-tinned. When you push it in, you don't have to worry about the individual strands coming out to the side. So that's one of the benefits of pre-tinning. Also, when you're heating the solder inside the cup, the reason why you want it boiling is because it gives you more time to actually position this. Because if it's not boiling, if it's only hot and not boiling, you have less time before the solder cools down and solidifies. So when it's boiling, you have more time to position this, because positioning this is, I mean, if you want to position it straight, it takes, you know, some time. So also one other thing, when you're soldering these ends, notice that there's a ridge here. This ridge is what clicks on in here and keeps this thing from going back out. And the problem is, if you have solder coming out the sides of here, it'll smoothen out this part, and when you push this in, it won't click or it won't hold tightly. So make sure the outside here doesn't get clogged up with solder. So that's another reason. That's the reason why I like to put the solder in here and heat it up in here, because the solder doesn't overflow out and surrounds this part. Because you want this part to be clean, so when you push it into the connector, it'll have a nice click. So after you finish soldering the two ends, it'll look, let's see here, it'll be like this. And again, you're doing one at a time, so you won't short it out. But after you finish the soldering, you have this like this, and then I'm gonna remove this, just make an example. It'll be like this. But you want it to be, you want these to click in. When they click in, they'll be inside the plastic, so they won't be able to short out, and they hold the wires inside, so the wire doesn't push back out. But the way I do it is, it'll be like this, and I take one of each connector. Like for example, a bullet, put the bullet on this side, and then put the shell on the bullet side on this thing. But of course, again, do one at a time. For example, let's say I do this side like this. The wire and the other side's still going to be here, but it's going to be covered, so you won't short it. So it'd be like that. And you could either do it two ways. You could take this and push it against something hard, and then it'll click, or you can use a screwdriver and put it in here. When you do it with a screwdriver, it's kind of harder. Takes, you know, more strength to do it, but I rather, you know, push it against the bottom like this, and then it'll click. Once it clicks in, then you can go ahead and pull this end out, and then remove the tape on the other end, and then do the same thing. And once both clicks into place, you'll have a connector that looks exactly like this. Another way of doing it, or that's helpful to make it easier, is you can use a heat gun or a hair dryer and heat this up before you push the bullets in to click. It'll make the plastic softer, so you can push the bullets in easier. But anyway, thanks for watching.